The Punisher is back. He's hitting the streets of New York again, becoming a living nightmare for every criminal out there. But what's going on with Frank? Why is he getting these intense splitting headaches? And who's this mysterious guy showing up in front of Tombstone? Is he a new villain? All right, today we're diving into Marvel's latest series, Punisher Volume 15, Issue 1. Massive thanks for clicking on this video. Hope you enjoy the ride. Anyway, without further ado, let's leap in. The story kicks off on a silent night in NYC. Our narrator describes Frank Castle as a mere shadow of his former self, lurking in the city's darkness. What's hard to explain is how this city keeps calling him back, over and over, like Frank is just part of its DNA. Even though we all know the Punisher isn't exactly part of the happily ever after stories in this town. But regardless, this city is his home. New York isn't a pretty place for Frank. Amidst the decay, the filth, and the rot, Frank stays put. He's always right where he needs to be, even if it's somewhere he'd rather not be. On this page, we see a guy trying to mug him near a dark alleyway. As Frank gets closer, the guy reveals himself. With a wicked look, he pulls a pistol from his pocket and aims it straight at Frank. He threatens him, saying he's armed, and fires 2 shots down, right between Frank's feet. But Frank doesn't even flinch. Instead, the guy demands whatever's in Frank's pockets. Big mistake. Frank is his worst nightmare. With a defiant smirk, Frank opens his coat, showing off exactly what's inside. It's a full-on arsenal: pistols, shells, grenades, and tons of ammo. Frank is basically a walking armory. Seeing this, the tough guy instantly loses his nerve. He's scared to death and starts sprinting away as fast as he can from the Punisher. But then, Frank feels a sharp pain in his head. It's excruciating. Recently, Kingpin shoved some kind of device into Frank's skull, and he has to get it out himself. If Frank had a healing factor like Wolverine, or could control matter at a molecular level, he'd be fine. But Frank is just a man. In this panel, we see him collapse, totally alone. The scene shifts to a field news report about the chaos unfolding over the past few days. It started with a boat fire at the docks, where the suspect escaped into the water. Then came a high-speed chase and shootout at the Battery Park Tunnel, among other incidents. And the grand finale of this crime spree? The capture of Alonzo Lincoln, aka Tombstone, now locked up in Rykers. The reporter, Madeline, adds that some witnesses spotted a man with a skull symbol on his chest at the crime scenes. Could it be the Punisher? Anyway, in a dark room somewhere, a man sits watching Madeline's report. Creepily enough, he's holding a mask shaped like a human face. Who is this guy? Back to the Punisher. After picking himself up, he hops in his van and drives to a warehouse. Once inside, he heads deep into the shadows. Punisher needs help from someone. But what's he looking for? Is he seeking a cure for those pounding headaches? Frank opens a door into a pitch-black room. Inside, a man lies weak and moaning. Is this David Lieberman, aka Microchip, the guy who helped implant things in the Punisher Red Band series? Anyway, this man, with his last bit of strength, begs Frank for mercy, because despite their history, he's the one who saved the Punisher. Looks like it's definitely David. On this page, we see the Punisher cleaning his gear, but his mind is drifting. He's reflecting on everything he's done before. Frank feels like something is off. It's as if he's not quite himself, standing at a crossroads. So, has Frank really not returned to his old self since the Red Band series? The scene cuts to Rykers prison. In the dead of night, a guard knocks on a cell door, telling the prisoner to get ready. Turns out, it's Tombstone. The guard mentions someone wants to see him, even at this hour. So, the guard tells Tombstone to gear up, put on the cuffs, and meet this mysterious guest. But wait, who visits a prison this late? Tombstone is led by the guard into a gritty interrogation room. The vibe is getting really weird. The guard warns Tombstone not to try anything funny. After locking him to the table, the guard asks for his payment, and the person across the table hands over a bag of cash. Ugh, just another dirty cop taking a bribe. Now, it's just Tombstone and this mystery guy left in the room. Tombstone demands to know who he is. But the weird part is, the guy claims he already knows Tombstone. This is getting creepy, especially since some weird orange liquid starts leaking from the guy's neck and nose. Hey, remember that mysterious man we saw earlier watching the news and holding a mask? Could it be that he's actually wearing a mask right now while meeting Tombstone? Then things get creepy. This mysterious guy starts peeling off his skin, literally ripping his own face off. He starts talking about how he crawled back from the dead, making the whole vibe feel super dark. As he sets his mask on the table, he offers Tombstone a deal. Inside his briefcase, there are surgical tools and an orange folder. And turns out this mystery man is Jigsaw, aka Billy Russo, one of those street-level villains everyone thought was dead for a while. Now, he's standing right in front of Tombstone, demanding he sign over all his assets and power. Jigsaw even drops a chilling warning that he has access to Tombstone's family. Basically, if Tombstone says no, Jigsaw will hurt them. Talk about cold-blooded. Okay, let's switch back to the Punisher. In this scene, we see him roaming the city and taking down thugs. Honestly, it might sound harsh, but I feel like Punisher is the only one who truly makes criminals terrified. He's definitely not naive or an idealist. He won't hesitate to end anyone he thinks is a threat to society. And that creates a massive fear factor in the underworld. However, back in his car, it seems he can't escape his own suffering. That headache is still haunting him. While driving, he hears a report about a guy in a clown mask robbing a store. Without a second thought, Frank floors it. His instincts are screaming at him to get there immediately and shut down the chaos at the scene. Inside the shop, a guy in a clown mask is busy robbing the cashier. Nearby, a man is lying on the floor in a pool of blood. Once the robber gets what he wants, he starts backing toward the door, ready to bolt. But then, Frank shoots him from behind, dropping him instantly. Simple, but effective. Classic Frank. Frank then picks up the stolen cash and walks calmly toward the cashier. The guy behind the counter is terrified at first, begging Frank to just leave. But after returning the money, Punisher just wants to buy a pack of cookies. The cashier says they're free. He's clearly still shaking. I mean, he just got robbed, then watched the robber get taken out right in front of him. Who wouldn't be scared? Punisher steps out and heads back to his van. As he starts driving again, his headache flares up even worse. This time, it's brutal, causing Frank to lose total control until he blacks out, his head slamming onto the steering wheel. Naturally, the black van veers off course and crashes straight into a wall. The scene shifts to the WNX media office, where Madeline Phillips, the reporter from earlier, is working. She's seen arguing with her boss, who refuses to listen to her scoop about the Punisher's return. Her boss thinks street-level crime is just small fry news. Eventually, he just tells Madeline to go cover some tiny parades and kicks her out. You can tell. Madeline is absolutely fuming. We jump back to the warehouse, where Frank is holding a man, who might be David Lieberman, captive. When the door opens, the guy is terrified to see Frank, especially when Frank reaches for something. He thinks he's about to get shot. But surprise, Frank just hands him the cookies he bought earlier. With teary eyes, probably from pure terror, the man reaches out for the treat. The man starts inhaling the cookies like he hasn't eaten in days. He looks genuinely grateful and happy that Frank gave him something. Then, Frank says, "Something's wrong with me." Staring at the man, Frank asks for help with the issue in his head, or more specifically, his brain. Do you guys think this prisoner is actually David Lieberman? All right, let's get to the final scene of the video. In the room where he was watching TV, Jigsaw is talking to himself. He's rambling about how he needs to take over New York again, especially since Tombstone and Kingpin have fallen. We even see photos of Kingpin and Tombstone crossed out. But then, Jigsaw realizes there's one challenge left as he looks at a photo of the Punisher. While crossing out Punisher's face, Jigsaw says if the rumors of Frank's return are true, he has to eliminate him immediately. That way, his plan to become the King of New York can actually succeed. Well, now we know exactly who Frank's enemy is in this arc. Nice. So, that's Punisher Volume 15, Issue 1. A pretty solid start, if you ask me, and the art style is really top-notch. I'm hoping we see at least one other hero pop up in the next issue. Fingers crossed. Thanks a million to everyone who watched until the end. Hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Comic Leap so you don't miss out on more epic superhero stories. Bye.